WSTM, Channel 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an investigative report on that connection between male athletes and sexual assault. How common is it? Why does it happen? Athletes often exist in a rarefied world of privilege, where their talents bring in billions of dollars each year. How does this add to the problem? One study found that only 1 to 5% of all rape or molestation cases are reported. And in the case of gang rape, particularly common on college campuses, experts say the percentage is probably lower. Many rape survivors say they are discouraged from reporting sexual assaults by athletes.
Unfortunately, most rape victims still remain silent. They tell no one. They don't get the help they need.
Some rape centers, like the Santa Monica Rape Treatment Center, are encouraging survivors to speak out. In your case, and we're hearing a frightening number of these cases, it was a gang rape by football players?
Yes, it was by football players.
Can you please tell us?
Well, I knew 2 football players, and I was at the student center with them, and they asked me if I wanted to go to their room to watch some movies. I went to their room, and we were there for a little while watching the movies, and then they told me I couldn't leave. They locked me in, they pulled the phone out of the wall, and then they took turns raping me.
Now, those fellows were arrested?
Yes, they were arrested.
They were indicted, they were charged, they went to trial?
Yes.
But then they were acquitted?
Right.
Their word against yours?
Yes, it was their word against mine. I spent the whole week trial trying to prove that I wasn't a whore instead of trying to prove that they did something to me.
And Joanna, in your case, again, an athlete, right?
And he was really acting strange because he made all kinds of moves and passes, and I was like, no, don't do this. And this guy is like 6'5", 6'6". He's about 250 pounds, and there was no way that I could have pushed him off of me. And it was, when he was finished and he just got up, all he could say was, I'm so sorry, I took a no for a yes. I'm so sorry, I don't know what came over me. And I'm the only person he ever admitted that he raped me. I was the only person.
He was never arrested?
No.
And the story broke in the campus newspaper?
Yes, it did.
And now you're afraid to go back?
It was really hard because, I mean, I knew a lot of people that he knew. And I was bitches and whores and sluts from the day that it happened till the 29th of April, and that was the last day of school.
I'd like to introduce a special guest, Lindy Crescitelli, right now, who heads an organization called SCARED. What does it stand for again, Lindy?
Students Concerned About Rape Education.
Was there a case at Syracuse of a high school athlete who was recruited by the university, still in high school, was brought up to the college for a visit and told he'd be provided with a woman and actually raped a woman on his visit to the college before he even got admitted?
That's it. There was a case of a recruit, and a hotel was provided for him by the university. His expenses are paid for by the university, and he was given 2 players on our famous Orange Men team to show him around. And one of the things they showed him was a female friend who handed him a condom and introduced him to another woman and said, be gentle with her. He took her back to the university hotel, and he raped her. People in the hotel heard this, employees, guests. They broke into the room, and this rarely ever happens, but people saw him on top of her, and she was crying and screaming, get him off, and he said, she's my girlfriend, leave the room. He was brutal to the police and etc. This happened back in September, and the grand jury indictment just came out, and he's no longer up for rape. It's been reduced to sexual abuse.
We'll be right back. Let's take a look at some other cases around the country and some staggering facts. Take a look. Item: Syracuse basketball player admits to committing sex offense this past February. Item: Iowa basketball player pleads guilty to a charge of simple assault on a 17-year-old girl. Item: while visiting the campus, potential college basketball recruit rapes first-year female student. As the world of athletics continues to attach itself to rape, gang rape, and other sexual assaults, the connection is just beginning to be explored. Item: St. John's University in Queens, New York. 5 members of the lacrosse team allegedly drugged, kidnapped, and gang raped a female student at their off-campus home. The students are awaiting trial. Item: Washington Capitals hockey team in D.C. 4 players were accused of sexually assaulting a 17-year-old girl in a limousine. Item: Glen Ridge High School in New Jersey. 5 high school jocks were charged with sexually assaulting a mentally impaired teenage girl. They used a broomstick and a miniature baseball bat. They were indicted last May and are awaiting trial. From high schools to colleges to the pro leagues, male athletes are primed and pumped on the field. Some of them have a hard time turning it off on the streets.
I understand you were trained in the law. From what I've heard here, what's the problem with the judicial system? This makes absolutely no sense in any of these cases.
Why the perpetrators were acquitted?
I mean, the evidence seems to be there from what they've said just in the testimony itself. It makes no sense to me that these people would be subjected to what they were subjected to.
You see what they're up against? They're up against the stars of the campus. They're up against the All-Americans. Who's going to believe them? They stayed late at the fraternity party. They invited the guy to the residence. Who's going to believe them over the stars of the school? They're not only rape victims, they've been raped again by an attitude that condemns the victims and not the perpetrators. Joining us is the former Dallas Cowboy star, Pete Gent. Pete played football in the 60s for both Don Meredith at quarterback and Craig Morton at quarterback. Then he wrote his best-selling book, which became a very popular movie, North Dallas 40. Remember that one, starring Mac Davis and Nick Nolte? It was the wild life and the partying times of pro football ethics. Here's Pete Gent, ladies and gentlemen. Pete, do you think that pro athletes are cut too much slack?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not so much that they're cut too much slack, they're just not given any rules. I mean, you're basically brought into the system, and if you survive, you survive. The rules don't apply.
In all the years that you played organized ball, start from Pop Warner onto junior high to high school onto college, were you ever disciplined for anything?
No. No, not really, no.
I mean, come on, the guy's given a license. Meet Claire Wall. She is an expert in the field of rape.
I think that the public service that you are providing is very, very important. We have gotten bits and pieces from everyone here from their own particular perspective. Obviously, this is a very, very complex issue that we're looking at. I would be hard put to discover a university who I could really hold up as a model university of having dealt with one of these situations adequately.
I thought Syracuse was that university until Lindy told me the story about the high school recruit. I mean, Syracuse had 7 rapes, what, in '89, something like that?
Yeah, and 6 were in the first 5 weeks, which is considered the honeymoon period when all the new freshmen come. But I want to say, we've been able to get into the fraternities and sororities and do a lot of programming there. We've gotten into the residence halls. Anytime we bring up to our dean of students or any administrators mandating it for athletes, they flip out. Athletes? You can't mandate it for athletes. Why are they the untouchables? I'm not trying to single them out at all. Everybody else is getting the education at Syracuse University. It's about time the athletics program is mandated to get the education as well.
Okay, good point. Let's take a break. Peter Lesser.
Well, yeah, I'd like to enhance on that. His question about why he can't get into the athletics. Talk to a lot of college presidents. They can't get into their own athletic departments.
That's what they said.
They're run by, some athletic departments are run by separate corporations, totally devoid of any university control at all. And the other thing I'd like to say is I agree that a lot of the acts of violence are from white middle class, but it still is culture shock. It's that shock of suddenly being a star, suddenly being without responsibility or rules, and not knowing what to do.
Thanks, everybody. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to everybody out there.